with how God arrested you. That is a story that I would want you to share with everyone.
Well, I tell my story in almost all my teachings.
Yeah.
I think my salvation story is more popular than my name itself. I was exposed to a lot of vices as a young man, from pornography to sexual immorality. Got into the university. I joined the confraternity. I was not just a floor member in the confraternity. I rose to be the number 6 man in that confraternity.
Oh my.
Could have been number 1, but for some reasons someone counseled I shouldn't be number 1. So I became number 6. But I was growing up in a family where my mom was a very good Christian.
Wow.
Yeah. I saw my mother really walk with God, learn the ways of God. My dad was never around, so my mom was a single parent, raising 4 kids by herself, 4 children. So,
wow.
But I saw her find God. I saw her love God. I saw her commit to God.
Yes.
I saw her give her life to begin to do the things of God.
Yeah.
Right. So that seed was always somewhere in my heart.
All right.
For instance, there was a time we had a clash with another confraternity. And because of the position I was in confraternity at that time, we were supposed to be the ones to go to war.
Wow.
So all of us that were going to go to war were supposed to go and do the traditional protection, herbal medicine and all of that, so that you don't get killed in battle. Yeah. So, but at the back of my mind, I remembered my mother's teachings, that you do business with the devil, you will pay for it. So I found a way to escape so that I won't get involved. So that foundation seemed to always provide a base for God to reach me. So I actually got born again in 1996.
Wow. But
I backslid.
Okay.
Yeah, but my encounter with God was dramatic in the sense that I don't remember somebody particularly sitting me down to say, you need to give your life to Christ. But watching my mother, seeing the way she lived, I, on my own, on a particular day, just realized that only Jesus could help me.
Oh my.
Yeah, so he lit fires in my heart.
Okay.
And like one of my mentors taught me, right, that in the Christian faith, a child can be born in isolation.
Yes.
So salvation can happen to anybody anywhere. You can get born again under a mango tree. You can get born again in a car.
Yes.
Right? So I got born again in isolation.
Okay.
Obviously, the things I've been hearing in church, the things I've been experiencing, led me to Jesus Christ. So even though I backslid, 1999, 2000, I was back where I shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But 2003, all of a sudden, God came for me again.
Okay.
There was a fresh hunger in my heart, and then I began to press in to find God.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
This happened in 2003.
2003.
So were there specific encounters, or you just...
Yeah, at this time I was listening to 2 particular preachers that I would not like to mention on camera because their life today is not what it used to be.
Oh my God.
Yes, but 2 particular preachers, they raised an intense hunger in my heart for God.
Oh wow.
Right. And then I was in a campus fellowship at the time.
Yes.
Where as young people were madly in love with God.
Okay.
Kai, it was intense.
Okay.
So if you did not love God, it's like you were missing out on something. So those of us that were living double lives were like the people that were suffering. If you were serving God, you were like, oh, this is the thing to do. It's not like today where it's the other way around.
Yeah.
There are people who are serving God are envying the people who are serving Satan. Yeah. So all of us now started looking for opportunities to find God. So as I listened to those preachers, I began to have dreams.
Okay.
Began to have revelations.
Okay.
I fell in love with prayer.
Wow.
Yes. So I started praying.
Okay.
I remember that because I graduated 2004.
Yes.
February 2004. In that year, 2003,
yes,
I was writing my project.
Okay.
And everybody went home.
Okay.
But I told my mom I wanted to stay back in school.
Okay.
So I stayed. I prayed like I had never prayed before.
So tell us, how did you connect with RCN to the point of being the point man, RCN warrior?
As I listened to Apostle 2014,
Okay.
2013, 2014, then I don't want to say I stumbled upon him, but somehow I stumbled upon him. Yeah, so 2013, 2014, I started talking to him on Facebook.
Okay.
And Papa will take some time before he replies my messages, but we started talking. And then it resonated in my spirit that this is the man God has called me to follow.
Oh, wow.
So in 2016 or 2015, yes, 2015, I took the long journey from Warri to Makurdi by road. And if you know the roads in 2015, Lord have mercy, it was terrible. I had 3 accidents going back.
Wow.
Yes, I just bought the car at the time. It was a Sienna, but we had 3 accidents going back. So we drove down. If you see that video, because it was a contact.
Okay.
If you see that video, Papa introduces me, and then he says something like, Warri is going to become very close to Makurdi after today. So that was a destiny statement.
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
I knew that he was not just speaking about geographical distance.
Okay.
He was speaking about spiritual connections.
Connections, wow.
At that time, I was a senior pastor in a denomination.
Okay.
Yes. Leading 5 churches, 5 branches of the church.
Oh.
But I knew.
You had become a minister.
Yes, I was a pastor. But I knew that my destiny was with this man.
Okay.
So that's how we connected.
Okay. I'd like to ask a question about your ministry.
Yes.
It's I've watched you closely, like I said earlier. So can you tell us? I know that there's this doggedness and ruggedity in you telling the truth. You just say the truth, especially in particularly as it concerns consecration, purity, the need for knowledge, the Word of God. Can you tell us what inspires you to? How did you get to this point, and what's the inspiration behind this?
Well, one of the things that inspire me is the fact that I have walked the road of distance from God, and I understand the consequences of having a false Christianity.
Okay.
And in my engagements with God, I have found that if you are not going to fake what you have with God, then you must be pure.
Okay.
You must be consecrated.
Okay.
And then you must be willing to die for what you believe in.
Okay.
If you don't have these things, your relationship with God is going to be fake. It's going to be shallow.
Wow.
When your convictions are tested, you will not survive. So, because of this drive, and I read, before I met Apostle, the man that I was drinking from is dead, been dead long ago.
Yes.
A.W. Tozer.
Okay.
Tozer's books were manuals to the spirit realm for me.
Okay.
My God. There's one that I can read 50 times and I won't be tired. The Root of the Righteous.
Okay.
It's a powerful book.
Okay.
Right. So it shaped my theology, because I had never met a man that loved God the way Tozer loves God.
Okay.
So it made me define my life by those measures.
Okay.
So I knew that I needed to pursue God. And then you cannot be pursuing a reality and be afraid of telling the truth about that experience. So I would rather be unloved, I would rather be unknown, I would rather be celebrated, and tell the truth like Jeremiah, than pander to what is popular and what is acceptable as Christianity in modern day. That's what informed my second book, Organized Religion. It was the pain I was feeling. Meet Christians who are satisfied with half measures. You know, a Christian that can speak in tongues but can still fornicate. You know, Christian that can speak in tongues but does not like prayer. You know.
Coming to that, were there times when you were like this, like before this genuineness
Yes.
in your ministry and in your life? Were there times when you went that genuine?
Sure.
Okay.
I had to make that transition.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I had to. You know, and that's the challenge with the modern day church. You can be around God,
Yes,
be around religious activity, be around systemized, organized Christianity, and yet you are shallow,
wow.
and yet you are two-faced. So I was there. I've done
Okay.
that.
All right.
I have the t-shirt, sir. Yes, I've been there. Yes,
Okay.
but I got frustrated.
Wow.
Yes, because you will find that when your convictions are now put under pressure,
Yeah.
it will now be obvious that you don't know the God whom you speak about.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I got tired of coming to tell God every week, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Have mercy.
Have mercy. And then you read the Bible
Yeah.
and you find that people lived this life
Yeah.
and they were not oscillating between doing right and doing wrong. They lived this life and they died for what they believed in.
Yes.
So what's my excuse? Like, I don't know who was saying it yesterday now, I can't remember. Jesus is the pattern. And if Jesus lived in his humanity,
Yeah.
it's something I've been teaching for years now.
Yes.
Jesus is our perfect example in his humanity.
Yeah.
So I don't have an excuse. So I put pressure on myself to make the transition. In youth service, I used to beg God every night, I will never be fake. I don't want to be fake. So if I come to Abigail's meeting and Abigail is teaching and I'm convicted, you will see me on the floor crying. Help me, Jesus. Yeah. It's one of my favorite prayer points. Help me, Jesus. So I found a portal in the spirit.
I think I've been in meetings that I've seen you that way.
Yeah, I found a portal in the spirit that just allowed me to break free from the shackles of that false Christianity. So if I don't have a prayer life, I will cry. If I don't love the word of God, I will cry. Right. So I was there.
Okay.
And I know the frustration associated with that season of a Christian's life.
All right.
Because you are seeing that the well is available.
Okay, sorry.
Or you can't enter.
Before we get to this,
yes.
We'll just go on a short break. I know you viewer out there, I know that you're listening to this and every single word is interesting and it's something that you should take home with. Talking about you before the transition and how it was like for you. I'd like to find out, what about the challenges? I know you've been in ministry. Are there challenges you've faced in ministry? Seeing that you came from this into this, and from darkness to light, are there challenges you've gone through, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Well, challenges have been diverse, but there's one that strikes my heart, especially in my transition from the regular denomination to RCN.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you are going to preach truth in modern day, if you are going to stand for accurate Christian living, you must be prepared to suffer what I call aloneness. Yeah, you will not be liked. You might never be popular. So the challenge of acceptance exists for the preacher.
Okay.
So the preacher must come to a place where he has only one audience. Okay. His audience are not the people. His audience is not the world.
Yeah.
His audience is the one that sent him.
Yeah.
So you come to a place in your life, you will struggle at first. Okay. Everybody wants to be liked. Anybody that tells you that they don't want to be liked is not being honest. Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be accepted. Okay. You come to a place in ministry where you just tell yourself that even though I'm called to serve people, my first ministry is to the Lord. Okay. And if he is pleased, I'm satisfied.
Wow.
So you must overcome that challenge.
Okay. So you're a man of consecration, prayer, purity. And I believe this has formed the base for your book, The Organized Religion.
Yes.
So I would want you to add your voice to the this year's IEC conference, the life of prayer. Yes.
Yeah, like I was saying during my prayer session yesterday, if you look at the things the men of God that God privileged us to drink from in this IEC, including our father in the Lord, the Apostle AROME, OSAYI, you will notice that there is a body of knowledge they were trying to pass across.
Okay.
That one, there is a prayer life. The prayer life is that you must have routines around prayer.
Okay.
So you must have schedules for prayer.
Okay.
That then you say you have a prayer life.
Right.
Then there is the life of prayer.
Okay.
The life of prayer is because you have a routine, you have now become a creature of prayer. So you leave prayer out. So you don't necessarily have to be at the routine before you pray. So you pray in the market, you pray when you're cooking, you pray when you're sleeping, you pray. So you have a life of prayer.
Yes.
The third thing you would have noticed is the epitome of your experiences in prayer is life in your praying. Right? So now you don't just have a schedule. Now you don't just pray every time. You now have authority in prayer.
Prayer.
Yeah, so because you have a life of prayer, you have now made contact with the one that gives life. So now there's now life in your prayer. So when you speak, they are not just words. There's an authority signature that is associated with your praying, and you can move things in the spirit.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I deal with things like that in my book when I discuss about the prayer life of the church and things like that. So.
Okay. So how about how this prayer has influenced and impacted your ministry?
You can't do ministry without prayer.
Okay.
Can't. I have a teaching on evangelism, and
okay.
I emphasize that if you don't pray, you can't win the lost.
No.
I know we teach people to go out for evangelism.
Yes.
But evangelism begins in the place of prayer. So if you pray, you are empowered to go out for to do evangelism. So I was originally, like I tell people, I'm not a preacher.
All right.
And if I want to describe my ministry, I'm first an intercessor. Yes, I would prefer to pray. That's why I don't go for, if you invite me for a vigil, I don't like going for vigils, except you tell me it's a prayer meeting. I believe that vigils should be for prayer. But if you try to teach in a vigil, so must give yourself to prayer.
Okay. So being one that has very strict prayer schedules and all of that, how do you get to marry your prayer expectations upon your life with other aspects of your life, like ministry, family, relationship with friends, and all of this?
Yeah, if I begin with family, I think my greatest gift in ministry is my wife.
Wow.
Yes. She understands God's expectations of my life. So if I lie down that I want to pray and I'm going to pray 6-7 hours, my wife knows that I should not be disturbed. She takes care of the children and stuff like that. So I believe that if you, as a mortal, if you understand your priorities and what is most important to you, you will create time for it. Okay. So create time for prayer, then build everything else around that.
Wow.
So prayer then becomes the fulcrum, the core of your existence. Then everything else flows out of your prayer life. So that's the way I live.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome, sir. So are there like important lessons that you would want to share with people? Important lessons of prayer in your life that you would want to share with people? I'm making emphasis on prayer because I know the kind of person. I have followed you closely, like I said. And I know that you make so much emphasis on prayer, purity, consecration. So are there important lessons on these three that you would want to share?
Well, number one is recognize that your Christian life is a journey. Okay. No spiritual man was formed overnight. Okay. Don't go into prayer expecting that you'll be a giant overnight. Okay. Knowing God takes time. Yes. Takes a lot of time. Right. If you are not willing to do the time, you will never find God. Okay. You must be willing to commit time to it. Know also that without consecration, there's not much God can do with your life. Every mortal on the face of the earth is consecrated to a spirit. Okay. So there's nobody that is neutral. Okay. Consecration helps define which side of the army and which side of the war you will be on.
All right.
So if you consecrate yourself to God, you are on God's side. If you consecrate yourself to Netflix, to all kinds of lewd comedies, sexually charged videos, we know the side you are on, so you must be consecrated. If you refuse to be pure, at the end of the age, the Bible says it will separate the sheep from the goats. And if you've listened to our father teach, the doctrine of separation is a core doctrine in Scripture.
Okay.
And one of the tokens of separation is purity.
All right.
Purity.
Okay, so you made mention of your books.
Yes.
I believe they can be found online.
Yes, they're on Amazon.
Okay.
All my books, all my titles.
All right.
Walk into a Fulfilled Life speaks about purpose, how I found purpose,
Okay.
how I decided to dedicate my life to God, what happened within my soul.
Okay.
Naked Flesh seems to be my bestseller because that one deals with consecration, with purity, overcoming sexual addictions. I tell my own story.
Okay, sir.
Then organized religion is just me crying out for help. It's a burden on the state of the church.